What's up, guys? I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. Let's go ahead and jump right into it. These are the auctions of the week. Occasionally I talk about my auctions, although I have none right now. So we're just going to talk about some stuff that I've been looking at and some epic updates in terms of stuff that is recently sold as of yesterday in this hobby, and kind of where that puts all of vintage. We've been talking about modern and vintage recently in the last videos. And I think this sale is pretty, it gives a good indicator of where the hobby health is for vintage and for stuff like base set first edition, which is pretty much my favorite set. It's just the most nostalgic set to me. It's obviously one of the most valuable sets, one of the most iconic sets, although the cards themselves aren't really rare because there are many of them out there. First edition, just because it is first edition doesn't necessarily make it rare. Even my Charizard first edition card isn't necessarily rare. There are 700 plus examples out there in the pop report. So just because I love first edition and it is kind of the first set that we got here in the US, doesn't necessarily make it the rarest cards based on the population reports. All right, let's go ahead and look into this. So the first thing I want to look at is, and the biggest, most arguably, we're going to look at some stuff that I was checking out on eBay, and then we're going to look at two major auctions that happened here on Golden. So we'll go over these major auctions first, just so you guys don't have to watch the whole video if you don't want to. But yeah, let's go ahead. I am on Golden Auctions right now, so I am looking at this stuff right now. And as you can see on Golden Auctions, we can see that big auction for $317,000 for the base set first edition master set and PSA 10. Now, a lot of these cards are old certs, so they are old graded examples, but there's some new certs thrown in there. Either way, I think it was a pretty good price overall. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. Let's see. And I was also looking, there was a Illustrator Pikachu that ended recently in a PSA 8. I was trying to find that one. Okay, but let's go ahead and look at this guy. So we've got the entire set of the holos right there. We've got all the holos. Of course, you've got the three starters, and then is that Red Cheeks Pikachu? Yes, there's a Red Cheeks Pikachu in this lot as well. Now, this is the entire completed set. All these other photos pretty much go in to show you all of the other commons and uncommons, but it is an entire complete set to my knowledge. Yes, Gem Mint 10 complete set 103. I thought it was 102, so basically I think that there's probably both the Red Cheeks Pikachu and the Yellow Cheeks Pikachu, which technically would be correct. It couldn't be a complete set without both, but I don't know. I don't think that makes a huge difference, but yeah, $317,200. The winning bid was $260,000, which I think was a really good price to pay. I think just the Charizard alone, there was one recently that sold PSA 10 for $172,000, I believe. So just the Charizard alone being $170,000 makes that, $260,000 winning bid pretty good. Now with the buyer's premium, it put them at $317,000, which roughly comes out to $3,100 a card. Now when we're talking about commons and uncommons, that's a crazy average. But of course, we have most of the holos in PSA 10 are going to be worth upwards of $10,000, anywhere from like $7,000 to $10,000. All of the holos are worth a big chunk of change in PSA 10. You can get probably better deals by watching and waiting on auctions, but something like this does have somewhat of a premium, in my opinion, just for being a complete set. But what does this mean for the hobby overall? I think that the hobby is in great standing and in great health. Considering that everyone is really primarily focused on modern right now, in my opinion, modern is kind of all the rage right now. So I liked seeing an auction like this that ended high and pretty much stayed consistent with pricing in the past couple of years. Prices on the first edition Charizard have pretty much plummeted over the last couple of years, making it a good time to pick that card up, which is the same reason why I pretty much over leveraged myself and pretty much made a huge risk on buying my first edition Charizard right here because I thought that it was probably a good time. Now, could that price continue to fall a little bit more? Maybe. Right now we are seeing a lot of vintage first edition cards dropping in price. A little bit worrisome because there are plenty of other cards that are rising in price that are vintage, and of course modern seems to just continue growing. But overall, $317,000 that someone was willing to fork up for the full set. I think that's a good indicator of health. And yeah, just the Charizard alone there is just over half that value, and then they're getting all of the other cards, 15 other holos, PSA 10, valued at least, just the holos valued at about $7,000 a piece, which I think is, $5 to $7,000, I think is pretty bottom dollar for what you're going to get for a lot of these cards in PSA 10. The price from 9 jumps from, a couple $100 or $1,000 or, in Charizard's case, you're still, tens of thousands of dollars, but, Blastoise is worth around $3,000 to $4,000 in PSA 9. Venusaur is worth around $2,000 to $3,000, maybe $2,500, $2,000 to $2,500. So they're worth a lot less. But once you jump up to PSA 10, that number, that price exponentially rises. And so I'd like to say for 15 of the holos there in PSA 10, just times $5,000 roughly, that's $50,000, $75,000. The Charizard's $170,000, that's $245,000. Just for the holos, giving a rough estimate, the Machamp is not that valuable, so I'm sure Machamp in a PSA 10, I don't know what that pricing is, but I know a 9 is worth like $300, maybe even less than that. So I know the Machamp is one of the outliers because it's not a card you're gonna pull, but they didn't have first edition theme decks, so unlike the Unlimited set, you don't see these cards coming back out into the market via the theme decks, so they've all pretty much held up their price as well. So I'd say, $250,000 basically for all the holos. And then you can fetch a pretty big penny for those starters in PSA 10. Probably a grand worth each of them just because they're in PSA 10. And then the Red Cheeks Pikachu, I think, is worth around $4,000 or $5,000 in a PSA 10. Maybe that's even off, and maybe it's even more than that. But just from there, I think you can put it around $250,000. They paid $260,000. That was the winning bid, I think. And then that would, the buyer's premium. Are we counting that in the price overall? I'm going to. So if they're in it, $250,000, $260,000 with the value of just the holos alone, and that could be a little lower, or that could be a little bit higher. But if they're in it about $260,000, they're still short about $57,000. And are the commons, uncommons, and the non-holo rares, which the non-holo rares, you guys might not realize this, but the non-holo rares, like Beedrill, let's see what we got. So it goes through all of the holos, and you get a look at them, and a lot of them are old certs. A lot of them have some wear on the back. Must be signed in to watch lot. I'm not trying to watch the lot, but I'm just trying to get to the non-holo rares. Once we get into the non-holo rares, you can see that Yellow Cheeks Pikachu is right there. So this set did come with the Yellow Cheeks Pikachu and the Red Cheeks Pikachu. But yeah, I know Beedrill in a 9 is like $200 or $300. So I know in a 10, Beedrill is not cheap. Dragonair probably is not cheap. Electabuzz, Pidgeotto, I mean, all of these, because you're not going to get them anywhere other than first edition packs. Arcanine, dude, Arcanine's one of my favorite non-holo rares. Or was Arcanine? No, Arcanine's an uncommon. Can't believe I got that wrong. Yeah, and I guess Pidgeotto was the last non-holo rare. God, so nostalgic, so awesome. So you've got 6 non-holo rares. 6 non-holo, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 6 non-holo rares, and then you go into the uncommons. I would say the non-holo rares are probably roughly $1,000. 6 of those, put it around $156,000, maybe $160,000 for all, $260,000 for all of that. Are the uncommons and commons enough to make up for that, $60,000 discrepancy in price. Probably being that there's 6, 16, that's 22. So there's 80 commons, uncommons, and I guess this includes the energies, which is kind of silly, but it does include the energies. For all of those cards, $60,000 basically for all 70, 80 of the other cards in PSA 10. I don't know. I mean, I think honestly this person maybe paid a little premium on this, which is good. It's what we want to see. I think it shows that the hobby is strong. You guys can let me know if you think that $317,000 was a good deal for the entire base set, master set. A lot of these cards, including the Charizard, we're going to go back here and I'm going to show you guys the Charizard in this lot. I'm going to expand this and show you guys the Charizard in this lot. A lot of the hollows look like they have some kind of whitening or scuffing or scratching, which makes me feel better because I feel like this is just an issue with old cert 10s in general, and I'm looking at buying old certs because usually there's a better deal on them. For completing my first edition base set, master set, I'm trying to do the same thing, but I'm doing it with PSA 9 cards, and then all of my commons and uncommons are like PSA 7, 8, 9. So let's go back here. Yeah, so we're going to look at the Charizard here. I'm going to just... okay, so it doesn't let us look at just the Charizard. Okay. Okay, it does. It does let us look at just the Charizard. Okay, so you guys can see... Well, you may or may not be able to see. But if we look at the Charizard here, I don't know if you guys can tell, but there are some slight... surface scratches on that hollow right there. And then if we look at the back, it's a little bit more prevalent. So if we look at the back and you look at the top edge of that first edition Charizard PSA 10, I mean, there's whitening on there. There's a little bit of edge wear on there. It might not look like much to you guys, but if I'm paying basically, for this whole lot and I'm paying, hundreds of thousands of dollars, I'm going to want that PSA 10 card to look like it's truly a PSA 10, and you guys may not see it well through there. You can look this up on results on Golden Auction for this lot, but I mean, to me, it looks like pretty significant edge wear. I mean, if I look at mine, and mine is a PSA 9, there's no top edge wear on my first edition Charizard, PSA 9. And I've been really, really picky with looking at these cards, but you can see there's no top edge wear on that card at all. And this is a PSA 9. So I can't imagine spending that kind of money. Whoever bought this lot, I feel like whoever bought this lot was well off and coming back into the hobby and was like, I want PSA 10 everything. Would really like to know what profession they're in. I'm just very curious to know, was this a collector or was this, somebody coming into this hobby fresh that was like, wow, this stuff is like antiquities now. Let me buy into this. It's PSA 10. It's, it's the highest value grade you can get, but the actual cards themselves, the conditions themselves, if we're buying the cards and not the grades, I wouldn't be very impressed. I would not be very impressed. Now, I want to look at, I want to see if there's that illustration Pikachu that I was looking at. Illustrator. Pika. Okay, let's see if it pulls it up. I was just looking at one and then I screwed up and I lost the tab. And then we're going to pop over to the eBay listings. But again, I want to hear what you guys think about this. I think it's a net positive for the hobby. I think it says that people are still willing to come in and spend like buku bucks on these cards. Okay. Okay, that was 2023. We had a one that was pretty fresh recently. Okay, here we go. So, wow. Whoa. Okay. So the creme de la creme cards look like they're coming down in price. A PSA 8, guys, this is nuts. Okay. So all of these are PSA 8 Pikachu Illustrator examples. I love looking at this card. I would love to own this card someday, maybe, way down the road. Dude, this would be a sick card to own. It is a beautiful card, and it is just so known in this hobby. My God, this is crazy. Oh my gosh, and there's a 7.5 that sold for a pretty record-breaking number too. Wow. Oh my God, this Pikachu Illustrator is just going ham. Okay, we are going to have fun looking at this. All right, so in 2022, a PSA 8 sold for this $480,000 number right here. Right here we have a PSA 8 that sold for $480,000. Then right here, shortly after, PSA 8 sells 2/17/2024, not shortly after, but basically a year and a half later, February 17th, the same card, PSA 8 Pikachu Illustrator, sells for $317,000. That card, this is a grail card. These are cards that are very hard to find, but they have been pumped by auction houses. They have probably sold for way more than they're supposed to. And I believe Logan Paul also blew this card up. He also blew up the first edition Charizard. I think a lot of people would believe he is responsible for a lot of these cards getting hyped up and just skyrocketing in price. So that was February 2024. Okay, then we fast forward to June 1st, 2024. So yesterday, so the base set master set ended yesterday at $317,000. There's a lot of action going on Golden. I'm gonna have to check their website more. Derek, shout out to Derek. Derek sent me this auction for the master set. Appreciate you, Derek. You are always sending me dope stuff and contributing to the channel and what content that I end up making. So same exact card. Again, PSA 8 last night. Sold, ended at 10:30 p.m. for $305,000. This guy right here. So this guy right here went for $305 compared to that $317 not too long ago. So it looks like it's stabilizing around $300,000 for that PSA 8. But yeah, even that price difference, $12,000, that's a lot. That's a big price difference on that. But I can't imagine how the guy who bought it at $480,000, $500,000 for a PSA 8, I can't imagine how he feels now. His investment basically got chopped in half. And that price is probably going to go up. He's probably going to end up fine in the end. But oof, that was tough. There's a 7.5 that in 2023 went for $289,000. We've got that right here. 7.5, so pretty much almost the same price of an 8. That person paid up pretty handsomely in my opinion. And then we've got a Beckett 9, which seems like it's probably the best deal we see here. We usually see a slight drop in price when we're seeing BGS slabs. So $274,000 in 2023 for this Beckett 9. So that looked like it was one of the better deals that went down for that card, but awesome. Okay. Moving forward, we're going to go to my personal eBay and looking at stuff that I lost out on, stuff that I have learned about that's been interesting to me. In the theme deck world, this display case right here, typically they sell for around $1,000 to $1,200. This just sold for $1,400. So it looks like the prices of theme decks are actually slightly going up, right? It's a super niche market that I'm in. I know a lot of people aren't going to be interested, so I've got a lot of theme decks here that I lost auctions on. Just watching them, a lot of them are hovering in the $200 range, which is what I love about theme decks. They're very, very stable in that price range. Also, while I'm on it, I'm going to find this card for you guys. Let's see. Let's go to eBay. I'm going to find the Tropical Mega Battle card. I just met a guy the other night at the bar. I'm just going to interrupt this auction video for a while. I'm sure you guys won't mind. But we're going to look for the Tropical Mega Battle prize card that a buddy of mine, well, now I call him a buddy because I met him. We became acquaintances. We talked most of the night during an EDM event that I was throwing till 2 in the morning. The odds of me meeting someone who was a Tropical Mega Battle, like silver medalist, like champion, contest winner. Like that's, come on, what are the odds that I would meet someone like that that still has this stuff, that has all of their original childhood cards? Really want to get him on a stream. But okay, Tropical Mega Battle. All right, we're going to type that in and see what I can pull up. Beautiful. Pulled it up immediately. This is TCA Gaming's copy, and this is a PSA 8 that he has set for $40,000. But this is the card that the gentleman that I met the other night has. And his could be a PSA 9 or PSA 10. We really don't know. I don't know what the quality was like on these when they were handing them out. And I'm going to click on that just so we can look at the details of the artwork, because it really is a beautiful card. And after you look at it for a while, it starts to really grow on you. And this is a card that I would want in my collection. Even though some people would probably think, well, you didn't win the tournament, it's still a piece of history. It's still epic. And maybe I would become one of those people that people hate, that are just like, oh, like they're buying for the hype. They're buying these cards because they're rare. Guys, if money wasn't an issue, and you're a hardcore Pokemon collector, you're going to want this stuff because it's a piece of history. If I could afford it, I would buy it. End of story. But in the same light, if I could afford cards like that, I would probably be going for, you know, PSA 10 versions of everything I have now. Because I do like cards that are just, there's more of them out there so they can build on their popularity. The problem with cards like the Tropical Mega Battle card, and I'm going to put this up front so you guys can appreciate it. Once again, real close up. The problem with cards like this is so few people can actually find them, that the popularity and the demand it's just not there. There's no supply, and the demand's really not there because there is no supply. There's no familiarity with a card like this. But for those of us that get very entrenched into the hobby, we know that there's only 72 of these out there, and copies that are actually out there, maybe even less than that. I would also like to know, were there any copies that weren't given out that still somehow found their way around the world? They had some extra copies and they just gave them to the employees. Maybe, I don't know, but this is an incredible card. And, yeah, these are the trophy cards, right? I don't talk about trophy cards a lot, but I do want to start talking about them just to educate people and tell them the history of these cards. I talked about this in the video yesterday, but in 2000, the guy that I was talking to last night had been flown out by Wizards of the Coast to compete in a tournament. This is before Pokemon Worlds. So they had the, you know, Hilton Hawaiian Village Mega Tropical Battle tournament. And basically they were given decks that they were not briefed on, and they basically had to build from scratch and play with the decks that they had. And it's been an honor to get to talk to somebody that was a part of this, and I hope to get them on the channel at some point. But let's go back to my eBay stuff that I'm watching. So most theme decks I'm seeing going for 200. This one shocked me. I don't understand it. The card that's even in it is not that valuable. Like the holo that you get included in this theme deck is not that valuable. But the Brainwave theme deck. This Brainwave theme deck went for $355 sealed. I cannot believe it. The last one I picked up, one of those was like 180 bucks. So that's a pretty crazy price jump right there. I think somebody definitely ended up overpaying on that. And you get a non-holo Neo Discovery Espeon, nothing major, and then you get a holographic unknown card. I mean, there's really no value in the cards themselves. It's always amazing to see these theme decks, you know, rise in price and sell for these record numbers when, like, there's not really a whole lot of value in them. That's why I love them, is because I just like the box art, and I like that you can get these mint condition products that are really old for a decent price. Granted, these were $10 back in the day. We're not in that market anymore, so let's back this up. Okay, scrolling up. This one was good. Z&G Emporium sold a $3,500 Blastoise first edition in a PSA 9 with a 7/7 cert. This was a fresh cert, so I think this is a pretty good indicator of where Blastoise is at. That was a 7/7 cert, and it sold for $3,500. So I think we can say that Blastoise in a PSA 9 is probably worth around $3,500, $3,000. And that price changes, all right? We've got more of these auctions. I've been watching first edition cards because I'm starting to pivot back to working on my first edition master set. It has been way too long. I've been focusing on crystals, gold stars, in keeping up with this hobby with modern that I haven't had a lot of time to actually look at first edition base. But we'll look at all the stuff that I lost. First edition PSA 9 Shadowless Raichu. This was an old cert. This was a 05 cert, so this is a super old cert. Yeah, this and the back, let's see what the back looks like. The back actually looks really, really clean, which I think is why I went for what it went. Catch 'em All Collectibles was the person running this auction. Catch 'em All Collectibles, if you don't know them, really influential in the hobby, long-time seller, long-time collector, pretty much knows everybody, everybody knows them. Kind of like another TCA Gaming of sorts, in my opinion. So much respect for all of those guys, just for sticking with this hobby for so long. You know, you get other things pop up in life and you have to prioritize them, and you have high school and you want to buy a new car and you meet girls and you're taking them out and, you know, you want to be fashionable and you buy sneakers. This was my life, right? So I veered pretty far away from trading cards, but even in like 2017, 2018, I was still buying people's Yu-Gi-Oh card collections, just because I just found listings that I liked. But then I stopped doing that and I just, you know, kind of left TCG for a while, and I came back pretty much at the tail end of Sun and Moon. Anyways, first edition Raichu, I think it's safe to say this was a really clean copy. It went for $990. I would have happily paid that price. I am a huge Raichu fan. I love Raichu. I've got Raichu on my wall, even though Raichu is the one I have is a PSA 7. In fact, why don't we get old boy out? We don't give him any screen time. This is a super clean PSA 7, mind you. It is a very, very clean PSA 7. Let's see if we can get my head out of the way. The holo is pretty much like immaculate on this thing. Absolutely immaculate. So this is my PSA 7 copy. I don't really know why it's a PSA 7. I mean, it's a little off center. There's a little bit of edge wear, but like sometimes, like some of these cards I don't even really want to upgrade to a 9 because I've bought 9s that were flawed in ways that were much worse than my PSA 7, 8 copies. Yeah, right here you guys can see the back of the card. I mean, there's barely, you can see some edge wear. Let's see if I can get it to focus it on. You can see a little bit of edge wear on one of those sides. But other than that, I think it was just the edge wear that knocked it. I think it's on this side. Let's see. No, it's on the other side. So it's on the side with my thumb right here. I don't know if you guys can see any edge wear, but I think, yeah, this is a 6.4 cert, so semi-modern cert. I feel like this card could probably get a higher grade. But at the end of the day, the holo is super, super clean. I love it. I love that card, and I'm pretty happy with it. So I haven't been in a rush to buy this, but I was watching this auction. But yeah, I'd say Raichu is probably worth around $1,000. This was an awesome auction. I was salty that I lost this auction. This was an opportunity that I missed, but I was focusing on finding a Gold Star Rayquaza PSA 9, Gold Star Umbreon PSA 9, and a first edition Charizard PSA 9. So I was focused. I knew that I wanted to buy other things, and so I slept out on this auction. But I really regret sleeping out on this auction because this was maybe one of the last good prices we'll see on this card for a while. But we have a Gold Star PSA 9 Dragon Frontiers Mew. Now, I'm not a huge fan. It was sold by STF Gaming, who does a lot of business on eBay. I've seen their page a lot. This card sold for a record $12.80, sold for $12.80.75. That's a really good price, guys. That's like bottom dollar price for this card. It was a 4-1 cert. It wasn't a super old cert by any means, but older than what we have now. Now we're in like the 9.3 cert area. But just awesome card. Really wish I would have gotten in on that auction, but I was working late and I just wasn't paying attention to my phone. A lot of the times, the auctions that I lose are when I'm at work. And so I do think when people put auctions up late at night, that's when most people are off work and there's all eyes on them. But for me, I'm only up during the day. So when auctions end during the day, that's when I can find where I get the best deals because everybody else is working and unable to check their phones, and I'm off for the first half of the day every day. So yeah, $12.80, that was a really good price. We've seen this card sell for $1,500, $1,600, $1,700. So $12.80 was a really good price. Also, like, what's going on with gold stars? Why do we see these really hyped numbers like PSA 9 Umbreon sold for a record breaking like 10,000 Australian recently, or at least the seller that I'm talking to now claims that there was a sale. I don't even know if some of these sales are legit because I remember looking at Umbreon and losing my chance at Umbreon Gold Star PSA 9, beautiful copy for $6,200. So where is $8,000, $9,000, $10,000 coming from? All of a sudden, that sale was like a month or two old. That was when I got the Espeon, which is a super, super clean Espeon. In fact, I'm going to get Espeon just to show you guys how clean that card actually is. Just to show you guys. I picked this up for $3,500, I believe, or maybe it was $3,700, and I vaulted and pulled it out. So that was that. I did not pay sales tax on it because I sent it to the vault. The vault is ending. It is moving to PSA Vault. I believe the fee is going to go from being 0 to like 9%, which sucks. But like, yeah, this is my Espeon. It came from the exact same seller that I was looking at Umbreon for $6,200, and it's super clean. And they were graded together. So it sucks that I was not able to get that copy. But I'm just trying to give you guys an idea, like how is it that some of these prices fluctuate so crazy? Like, I just don't understand it. It's mind-blowing. Okay, back up. I'm ranting. PSA 9 Magneton base set first edition, sold again by none other than Catch 'em All Collectibles. I would love to get stuff on consignment like he does. Like, I don't want to get into consignment. It seems icky, but I just use the word icky. This is an awesome auction, I think. Actually, 700, was that on the high end? I don't know. I feel like 700 was a little bit high for first edition Magneton. Maybe I'm wrong on that because it is an old cert, but this auction went for $700. I recently sold mine for, I think it was like PSA 7 for around like 300-ish. So I feel like that's still a pretty good price, but I feel like I'd like to pay around 600 for a PSA 9 Magneton. I'm always saying the prices that I feel like I should pay, and that's not exactly factual, but it's just I don't want to pay market price for cards. I'm not, but you know, this is what they're selling for, guys. First edition Alakazam by Moody Made. This is a I tried to get this card when it was up for buy it now, but they put it up for auction. I lost out on it. Again, I was looking at all these other cards that I'm going after, so I lost out on it. But this was a great price, in my opinion, to pay. There was one in the UK that I wasn't sure about condition-wise, but I think it sold for like $1,300 once you transfer from the pound to the US dollar. It was like $1,300. Tax would have brought it up to $1,400. Shipping was like $50, so it would have brought it up to like $1,450, maybe $1,500. But that was a really, really good deal on Alakazam. And as you guys know, I'm not happy with my current Alakazam. It has like a roller line in it or something. Some people might think that that's cool. Maybe it'll grow on me and I'll eventually learn to love it. It's otherwise pretty much flawless. But yeah, I would have loved to get on this auction, but I'm focused. You know, obviously I just bought the first edition Charizard, so that's where all of my money has gone recently. But yeah, $1,580 for this PSA 9 Alakazam. Honestly, that's a pretty dang good price. Like that's a solid price for that card. I would have been happy with that. It would have lowered my cost average. I paid $1,900 for my Alakazam, vaulted, no taxes. So $1,580. Shipping, what was shipping? Let's see, $58 for shipping. So that brought it to $1,630, $1,640, and then you have taxes too. So around $1,700-ish. Not that wouldn't have been the best deal, but it looks like it's a clean copy. So like, I don't know how I could get so unlucky with my Alakazam having a roller line in it. Like, dude, it's not that I get unlucky. I've had great luck with a lot of the vintage Grail cards I've bought, but like, I get really, really torn up. Okay, this is a good one. This is a good one because I got a really good deal on my Gold Star Mew. I got my Gold Star Mew for $1,700. like flat, pretty much. This Hold On Phantoms Gold Star Mewtwo went for Canadian $26.50, which translated to USD $19.44. Shipping was $33. So you were in it $2,000 for this 6'7" cert Mewtwo, which looks like it honestly has some scratches on it. Let's see, pull this back up. Sorry guys, I just lost it again. Slab Shark, which I've seen them, Canadian seller Slab Shark, they sold this basically at $2,000. So I'm happy about that. I do think the Gold Star Mewtwo is kind of underrated, even in PSA 9. I would love to get PSA 10 copies of the Gold Stars. Okay, last but not least, first edition Venusaur, sold by some kind of no-name seller with 39 feedback in Canada. So 39 feedback in Canada, very, very old cert, but it went for $2,400, which is kind of astounding. I thought that it would go for more being a low feedback seller, but $2,400 is like kind of tip top there. I think that's like tip top market there, I'd say. And then let's see, we had a Blastoise that went for a good price too from the same seller because they had 0 feedback, which, you know, may end up being a problem for whoever bought the card. We don't know. I'm sure it was a legitimate sale. I'm sure they just don't use eBay a lot. They bought the slabs when they were way cheaper. Guys, these cards in 2019 were so cheap. They were so cheap. Like anybody that almost collected in 2018, 2019 screwed up big time. Like, that was a time to get back into Pokemon right before things really started taking off. But anyways, PSA 9 Blastoise, I think this was a good price. I think it went for under market because it was a low feedback seller. 39 transactions, but 0 feedback, like 0, like nothing telling you if they know what they're doing is the seller. But $28.50 for this first edition PSA 9 Blasty. Now that's a good price, guys. I paid, I think $1,900 for my Venusaur and $2,900 for my Blastoise. So when I'm seeing that price, I'm like, damn, that's a good price. Now I did not, that was over goods and services, PayPal, the fee they paid for, taxes, not a part of the situation, and I got 2% back. So it was definitely less than this card. This card, whoever bought this, they ended up having to pay taxes on it too. Well, it depends what state they live in, but yeah, $28.50 was a good price in my opinion. Okay, and we're getting down to the last ones. So this one really screwed me up this morning, and we're ending the note on a theme deck because you guys know that I love theme decks. I hope you guys love this kind of auction recap video. I will try and do more of these. I think that it is a valuable piece of content to add to the channel, but there's other people that have done this style content in the past, and I don't know. It's kind of new for me. So we're ending on a theme deck. This is a very highly sought after theme deck, the Team Aqua theme deck. These things are very scarce, very rare. You rarely ever see them pop up on eBay. And when they do, they usually go for $200 or $300. This one, somehow, I forgot about it. It slipped under the radar, and it went for a shocking 74 British pounds. I can't believe it. 94 USD translated, $34 shipping. That's 98.30. That's $128 for this gem of a theme deck. A sealed copy Team Aqua theme deck. That's kind of that was my auction regret of the week that I missed out on. Now I will say, the back looks really clean. The hang tag is still intact. I'm not sure if that's clear or not, but it's this last photo. There was a little bit of crumple on the corner. There was just a little bit of damage on the corner of the theme deck, but other than that, I would have gladly picked that theme deck up for the price. I love getting a deal on stuff, and maybe it's just slightly used rather than perfect mint when it comes to theme decks, right? Because these are boxes. They are not going to be perfect. They are going to get bumped around at some point, whether it's me or someone else. Whereas the cards and the slabs, it's imperative they are in the best condition, the best mint condition possible for me. because I'm going to be looking at them in that condition for forever. I know with theme decks that they can get damaged, they can fall over off my shelf. Maybe we move to a new house and they're in packaging and they get smushed in packaging. Stuff can happen. Once cards are in slabs, like, they're protected. So I like getting a good deal on theme decks is what I'm trying to say. More so than buying the mint condition theme decks, unless they are the creme de la creme decks that I'm going for. The lava deck, I still don't own that deck. I don't own the lava or the turmoil. Other than open copies, I have several open copies of those decks, but I've never seen a good deal for one for a sealed copy. And the sellers that are selling them are not putting out deals. Anyways, guys, that's all I've got for you. I hope you enjoyed the video. Pretty crazy stuff between the Illustrator that just sold, the Illustration Pikachu that just sold, and the Master Set First Edition base set. Pretty crazy numbers. And then we're seeing on eBay, we're seeing some of those First Edition PSA 9s starting to drop a little bit in price. What does it mean? Is the vintage market falling a little bit? Are we seeing a little bit of a retrace? Will we see a retrace of everything in the next couple of months? It'll be interesting to see. So let's stick around, find out. Peace out, guys. Tomorrow, we've been long overdue on this. I need to do a mail day video. I've got stuff piling up here. I need to open these products and share with you guys some new pickups that I got that I will be keeping in terms of adding to my collection and not selling stuff. But yeah, and then all of the cases, I'm going to show you guys everything I picked up recently. I've been putting that off for a couple days now. Anyways, peace.